The sun shone brightly on the picturesque church in Lagos, Nigeria. The air was filled with anticipation and joy as guests gathered to witness the union of Damilola and John. The bride, Damilola, radiated beauty and happiness in her white gown, her heart brimming with love and excitement. Friends and family members buzzed with excitement, capturing the moments on their phones, eager to celebrate the love story that had brought them all together. As the ceremony was about to begin, an unsettling silence fell over the congregation. The music paused, and whispers rippled through the crowd. John, the groom, was nowhere to be found. The minutes ticked by, each one more excruciating than the last. Panic began to set in, and the once joyous atmosphere turned tense and anxious. Minutes turned into hours, and the grim realization dawned upon everyone. John had abandoned Damilola at the altar. Heartbroken and humiliated, Damilola felt her world shatter. She looked around at the sympathetic faces of her loved ones, but their pity only deepened her despair. The weight of the betrayal was unbearable. She could barely breathe as she was whisked away from the church, her dreams of a happy future crushed. That night, overwhelmed by despair, Damilola contemplated ending her life. She felt utterly alone, drowning in a sea of sorrow. She locked herself in her room, staring blankly at the wedding dress now crumpled on the floor. Just as she reached for a bottle of pills, her phone rang. It was a concerned friend, who sensed something was terribly wrong. With a sense of urgency, her friend insisted on taking her to see Pastor Samuel, a wise and compassionate spiritual leader known for his unwavering faith. Pastor Samuel listened intently as Damilola poured out her heart, her tears flowing freely. "Why did this happen to me, Pastor? What did I do to deserve this?" she cried, her voice trembling with pain. Pastor Samuel gently took her hand and said, "Damilola, I know you are in deep pain right now, but God has a purpose for everything. Instead of succumbing to despair, I want you to praise God for this moment, even through your tears. Trust that He has a greater plan for your life." Damilola was incredulous. How could she praise God in the midst of such heartbreak? But with nothing left to lose, she followed Pastor Samuel's counsel. For 2 hours, she wept and praised God, her cries mingling with words of worship. Slowly, a sense of peace began to envelop her, and the unbearable weight of her trauma started to lift. Years passed, and Damilola's faith grew stronger. She focused on her career and personal growth, refusing to let her past define her. She threw herself into her work, helping others and finding solace in her faith community. One day, while attending a community event, she met Captain Adateo, a distinguished military officer. There was an instant connection, and their friendship blossomed into love. Adateo's integrity, strength, and kindness captivated Damilola's heart. He admired her resilience and the depth of her faith. Their courtship was a beautiful journey of mutual respect and admiration. Adateo proposed to Damilola in a heartfelt moment, and they married in a beautiful ceremony filled with joy and hope, a stark contrast to the sorrow of her first wedding day. Friends and family gathered once again, this time to witness a love story redeemed by grace and perseverance. Adateo's career flourished, and he eventually became the governor of a prominent state in Nigeria. Damilola stood by his side as a loving and supportive wife. Her life, once marked by heartbreak, was now filled with purpose and happiness. She became actively involved in charitable work, using her own experiences to inspire and uplift others facing similar trials. However, fate had one more twist in store for Damilola. During a high-profile event, she was introduced to her new security detail. Among the guards was a familiar-faced John, the man who had abandoned her years ago. Now a military officer, John had been assigned to protect the very woman he had once left in despair. Damilola felt a surge of emotions as she looked into John's eyes. She saw regret and remorse, but also a silent plea for forgiveness. The past flashed before her, but instead of bitterness, she felt a profound sense of closure. She had overcome her trauma through faith and praise, and now she stood as a testament to God's grace and redemption. In that moment, Damilola realized the true extent of God's plan. She had been tested and had emerged stronger. Her journey from heartbreak to healing had brought her to a place of honor and fulfillment. And now, she had the chance to extend grace to the man who had once caused her so much pain. With a serene smile, Damilola nodded at John, acknowledging his presence. She knew that her story was a testament to the power of praise and the unfathomable ways in which God's plans unfold. Through her journey, she had discovered that even in the darkest moments, there is always a reason to praise and trust in divine intervention. As she walked away, she whispered a prayer of gratitude, knowing that her life was a living testimony to the transformative power of faith and forgiveness. And so, Damilola's story became an inspiration to all who heard it, a reminder that no matter how deep the pain, God's love can heal and restore.